Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Right. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Good afternoon. We will start chapter 9. These electronic commerce systems. There are 4 learning objectives for this particular chapter. First one is identify the major categories and trends of e-commerce applications. Here we are going to identify actually 3 major categories of electronic commerce, and then during the discussion we will identify certain trends of e-commerce applications, then identify the essential processes of an e-commerce system and give examples of how they are implemented in e-commerce applications. And we are going to identify basically 9 essential processes of an e-commerce system, or 9 essential components of an e-commerce system, and we are going to give some examples related to them. Then identify and give examples of several key factors and web store requirements need to succeed in e-commerce. And here we will identify some key factors and also web store requirements that are needed to succeed in an e-commerce environment. And finally, we are going to discuss the benefits and trade-offs of several e-commerce bricks and bricks alternatives. Now, when it comes to e-commerce businesses, an organization can use e-commerce in association with traditional business environment. There are several options available for organizations. They can go for pure e-commerce type business, or they can use a combination of electronic commerce operations along with the traditional business operations. So we are going to look at those options and see the benefits and the trade-offs or the costs associated with each option available for them. So those are the areas that are going to be addressed in this particular chapter, and those are the areas that you are going to learn in this particular chapter. So we are moving to section 1, that is e-commerce fundamentals. And under that, we will start with the introduction to e-commerce. And again, we are going to give a definition for electronic commerce. I think during the previous session also we gave a particular definition, but here we are going to give a somewhat expanded definition for electronic commerce. Electronic commerce encompasses the entire online process of developing, marketing, selling, delivering, servicing, and paying for products and services. So here we refer that e-commerce includes several areas, several processes related to our online operations, and it can be related to development of products and services, and also it can be related to the marketing of the products and services. Likewise, e-commerce can include selling, delivering, servicing, and paying for products and services. So therefore, if a particular process is related to development of a product or service, or marketing of product or service, selling of a product or service, delivering of a product or service, and providing the necessary customer service to the products or services that we sell to our customers, and also the payments associated with products and services that we sell. So all those are included under electronic commerce according to this particular definition. It relies on the internet and other information technologies to support every step of the process. Now, in supporting these particular processes, we can utilize the internet and also other information technologies. So we may utilize different other technologies like intranet and also extranet in this particular process. So therefore, apart from the use of the internet, the organizations may utilize different other technology to support the particular processes, which will be coming under electronic commerce. So then we will be moving to the next subtitle, the scope of e-commerce. Companies involved in e-commerce, as either buyers or sellers, rely on internet-based technologies and e-commerce applications and services to accomplish marketing, discovery, transaction processing, and product service, that is delivery of products and services and customer service processes. So when it comes to electronic commerce transactions or processes, it can be related to buyers as well as sellers. And when it comes to an organization, an organization may be a buyer in certain instances, and also an organization can be a seller in some other instances. So whatever it is, so whatever the role played by an organization, so the processes may be related to the discovery of the particular, say, products or services, or finding the relevant products or services, then the transaction processing, and also the delivery of the particular products and services, and also providing the necessary customer service. So therefore, there can be a number of or different types of processes involved in e-commerce transactions when that is performed as a buyer or seller. The advantages of e-commerce allow a business of virtually any size that is located virtually anywhere on the planet to conduct business with just about anyone, anywhere. Now, when it comes to the e-commerce transactions, the size of the organization usually doesn't matter. It can be a smaller company or it can be a large company. But whatever the size, the customers see the organization through its website. So therefore, a small organization is also in a position to interact with its customers effectively by utilizing the website. So if the particular website is an efficient and an effective website, then the customers will not realize the size of the organization, because the customers doesn't see the size of the organization through the website. They only see the website and they only interact through the website. So if the website is efficient and effective, so then that will be adequate for the particular customers to interact with the organization. And also the location of the organization is not a matter to the customer. And again, the organization can be located anywhere in the world. And the customer again doesn't see it and also doesn't feel it, because again the customer interacts with the organization through the website. So then by being present on the internet and by being present on the internet with the help of a website, the particular organization is in a position to interact with anyone, any customer who is anywhere in the world. So therefore, for the organization also, the location of the customer doesn't matter, and customer can be anywhere on the planet. Customer can be anywhere in the world, and customer can be accessed, or customer can be reached by an organization by being present on the internet through a website. The power of e-commerce allows geophysical barriers to disappear, making all consumers and businesses on Earth potential customers and suppliers. And for a traditional organization, we have these geophysical barriers or geographical barriers. Now, for a traditional company, operating in a different market is very much difficult. Reaching customers in a different market is very much difficult. So that is difficult, and also reaching customers in a different market is expensive. So, but today the organizations find it easier to reach customers in different markets with the help of these internet technologies, and they are in a position to break the particular geophysical barriers and reach the customers in other markets very much easily. So the customers on the planet can become potential customers. Customers in the world can become potential customers, and suppliers in the world can become potential suppliers due to these particular technologies. So therefore, an organization is capable of reaching customers and suppliers in the world, and they can become the potential customers and suppliers. And the organization may find that it is easier for them to reach the particular customers and suppliers, and also it is very much capable of reaching them at a minimum cost. So it is affordable for an organization today to reach these global customers and suppliers. So that is about the scope of electronic commerce, which we highlighted that we are in a position to reach customers who are anywhere in the world, and also we are in a position to reach suppliers who are anywhere in the world. And also the size of the organization doesn't matter, and also the location of the organization is not going to matter with electronic commerce. And also the location of the customer or location of the supplier is not going to matter in relation to the e-commerce operations. So therefore, the customers or suppliers in the world can become potential customers and suppliers for any organization with the internet technology and the other technologies that are available today. Is there anything not clear about this particular introduction or definition related to electronic commerce and also the scope of electronic commerce?
It's clear.
Okay, thank you. We are now moving to categories of electronic commerce as highlighted in one learning objective. We are going to look at the most prominent categories of electronic commerce. And here we are going to identify three such primary categories. First one is business to consumer electronic commerce. Second one is business to business electronic commerce. The third one is consumer to consumer electronic commerce. Now, these are the most prominent or most used electronic commerce categories that are available. But these are not the only categories available. There are certain other categories available as well. But we are not going to highlight them in this particular course. And those other categories are out of the scope for this particular course. But please remember that there are some other categories available. For example, if we take a category like business to government or government to business, government to consumer, something like that. So they are not highlighted here, but they are being used today to a certain extent. Their use can be somewhat limited. So therefore, we are not going to discuss them in this particular course. And the three categories that we discuss here are the most prominent and most used categories of electronic commerce. Now, the first one is business to consumer. Now, business to consumer electronic commerce. Now, what is business to consumer electronic commerce? Now, that is a category of electronic commerce where a business organization focuses on its consumer. The business organization may be marketing their products to the consumers. They may be selling their products to the consumers. So the transaction is basically between a business organization and a consumer. So the e-commerce transactions are between the business organization and the consumer. So how do we enable a transaction with the consumer? If we are an organization, or if we are a business organization, how can we enable a transaction with our consumers? So it is basically by developing an electronic marketplace. So that is explained in the next point. In this form of electronic commerce, businesses must develop attractive electronic marketplaces to sell products and services to customers. So there should be a place which we can sell our products or which we can market our products to our consumers. So that is identified as an electronic marketplace. And through that particular marketplace, we should be able to interact with our customers. And also the customers should be able to interact with us. So we should be able to sell our products, so we should be able to market our products, and also we should be able to provide services to the customers. For example, many companies offer e-commerce websites that provide virtual storefronts, multimedia catalogs, interactive order processing, secure electronic payment, online customer support, and so on. So in this particular electronic marketplace, there can be different things available. It can contain a virtual storefront. So that means the customers can go and see the products that are available. Now, when you go to a particular store, you can see what is available. So similarly, when the customers go to this particular electronic marketplace, the customer should be able to see the products available for sale. And also they should be able to go through the multimedia catalogs, so which contain information about the particular products that the organization sell. So catalog, I think multimedia catalog is a catalog in the form of multimedia. That means information is presented utilizing multimedia. If information is presented utilizing multimedia, that means information is presented utilizing text, audio, and video. So when it comes to multimedia, we basically refer to three types of media. First one is text, the second one is audio, and the third one is video. So therefore, the organization basically presents information about the products that they sell utilizing these three media. Text-based information can be utilized, audio-based information can be utilized, and also video-based information can be utilized to provide uh, more effective information about their products to the customers or about their services to the customers. And also interactive order processing is available where the customers can interact with the organization and the organization is in a position to respond. So it is not one-way communication taking place, it is a two-way communication. Two-way communication is feasible here. So therefore, if a particular customer has some query, the customer can send the query to the organization and the organization can respond back to the customer. So the responding can be done online. If there is online, say 24-hour support is available, the customer can interact with the organization online. But in certain other instances, online real-time communication or interactions may not be available. Online real-time support may not be available. So then the customer is in a position to send a message to the organization, and maybe within a few hours time, or maybe within a 24-hour time period, the organization will respond back to the customer. And also in this particular business to consumer environment, the organization should provide a secure electronic payment method, because security of payment is of concern to the customer. And if the payment mode available is not secure, customer may be hesitant to make payment or customer may not make payments. So therefore, secure electronic payment mechanism should be arranged by the organization in order to facilitate these e-commerce transactions. So in addition to that, online customer support, as I mentioned earlier, this online customer support is maybe very essential here. And it can be online real-time support, but sometimes maybe the customer interacts with the organization online, but the responses may not come real-time because there is no 24/7 support facility given. But customer can interact, as I highlighted earlier. Customer can request anything that he wishes to have, and it can be done online through the website, but the responses can be somewhat late. So that is somewhat acceptable in e-commerce operations, and customers may also be happy if the organization can respond within few hours. And also, as I mentioned earlier, the accepted norm is 24 hours. So within 24 hours, the organization should respond. Otherwise, the customer may be disappointed and the customer may switch to a different organization. Okay, is it clear about business to consumer e-commerce?
Yes, it was clear.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Give me 1 minute. I will be back.
Recording stop. Recording in progress.
Okay. The second category of second category of electronic commerce is business to business e-commerce. Now, what is this business to business electronic commerce? Here, it's a situation where the transactions take place between two business organizations. Now, seller is a business organization and buyer is also a business organization. So, therefore, the transactions take place between two business organizations. This category of e-commerce involves both e-business marketplaces and direct market links between businesses. Now, when it comes to this particular business to business electronic commerce, the transactions between the particular two business organizations can take place utilizing different methods. One method is to do a transaction utilizing a particular marketplace. So we will elaborate on that one as we move on. And also there can be an instance where there can be direct links between the particular businesses, enabling them to perform transactions with each other. So two options are available. That is, one thing is doing a transaction through an electronic marketplace or e-business marketplace. Other one is doing direct business transactions between the particular two businesses. For example, many companies offer secure internet or extranet e-commerce catalog websites for their business customers and suppliers. Now, the elaboration, this particular example or the elaboration is related to the direct transactions that can take place between two business organizations. So they can provide the secure internet or extranet e-commerce catalog websites for their business customers and suppliers, indicating that if it is if there is a business seller, the other business buyers can go to the particular website of the particular business seller. Now, one business organization is a seller for the other business organizations can connect with the particular selling organization either using the internet or through the extranet facilities given to them. If it is internet, that means basically any business organization can access the particular seller. But if it is an extranet facility, that means only a limited authorized business organizations can access the particular website. So depending on the type of the business organization, and they may either use the internet facility or the extranet facility to allow other business organizations to connect with the particular organization. So therefore, that sort of transactions can take place. Then also very important are B2b E-Commerce Portals that provide auction and exchange marketplaces for business. And this is the second one that we highlighted here, e-business marketplace. Now, this here the term used is B2b E-Commerce Portal, but here it says e-business marketplace. Both refer to the same thing. So it's an online marketplace connecting the business buyers and business sellers. So therefore, this particular online marketplace can be created by a third party, or there can be other arrangements also. For example, there are certain e-commerce portals created by by say governing bodies of a particular industry. So if it is say garment industry, and then there is a particular say governing body, that particular governing body can also create a marketplace, electronic marketplace. Likewise, there can be different bodies or different entities or individuals creating these electronic marketplaces, enabling the business organizations to connect with other business organizations. So then inside the particular electronic marketplace, there can be different options available. Now the auction facility can be available. So as you know, an auction is a situation where the seller will specify a minimum price, and thereafter the buyers will come up with their own bids. So basically pushing the particular price up. So the seller will specify the minimum price, and thereafter the buyers will bid, and with the particular bids, the price will increase. And also here there can be other arrangements available. So for example, in this particular market place also, say spot purchasing can be available. And what is spot purchasing? And that is a situation where the seller will specify a fixed price and buyer will buy at that particular price. So a business organization, a seller can specify their particular price, specific price, fixed price for certain items, and another business organization as a buyer can buy directly from that particular seller. So therefore, that sort of spot purchasing can be available. But other sort of mechanism where they may negotiate with the seller. So when it comes to the say business organizations, and if they buy in bulk quantities, and they may not want to purchase at certain fixed prices specified by the seller, and then the buyer may want to negotiate with the seller for a price reduction. So the seller may also consider such maybe price reductions depending on the size of purchase. So therefore, that is also enabled through these particular portals or through these online exchanges, online marketplaces. So therefore, there can be different options available in these particular electronic business marketplaces or electronic commerce portals, as I highlighted here, which will connect business buyers with business sellers. So individual buyers and sellers will not be accepted to these particular marketplaces. Only the business buyers and business sellers will be accepted. Others may rely on electronic data interchange via the internet or extranets for computer-to-computer exchange of e-commerce documents with their larger business customers and suppliers. Now, an example is given here, Alibaba.com. Now, we highlighted two main options available. One is through the website. Now, website may be accessed through the internet by other, say, buyers, or that may be limited to certain, say, businesses through an extranet. So that option is available. Anyhow, the transactions can take place through the website of a particular business organization. Website may be accessed through the internet or through the extranet facility. The other option we mentioned was creating a particular marketplace, e-commerce marketplace or e-commerce portal, whatever the terms that we use to identify it. So where we connect large number of buyers and large number of sellers. So then so if we are a buyer, when we go there, we can see large number of sellers. So we can go through the details of the particular sellers and select a particular seller which we feel more suitable for us. So depending on different criteria. So likewise, I mentioned that again the transactions can take place utilizing different options like auction and also direct purchasing or spot purchasing, and also the other options like request for quotation or calling for bids. So those are very common when it comes to business organizations. So those type of options can also be available in an electronic marketplace. So request for quotation or calling for bids, those type of options can also be available here. So in addition to that, this electronic data interchange. Now, electronic data interchange is a particular, say, mechanism which will connect two business organizations and that will enable them to share information between them. And usually, they facilitate exchange of these e-commerce related documents. So, for example, we can, so if we are a buyer, we may create a say purchase order, highlighting the items that we want to purchase, and then we can utilize this electronic data interchange method to communicate the particular say purchase order with our supplier. There can be a particular say registered supplier supplying relevant items. So we can prepare the purchase order and communicate it with the relevant supplier through the particular electronic data interchange. So electronic data interchange is a mechanism connecting two organizations, enabling them to share information, usually in standard form. The term standard form is important. Why? Because when it comes to electronic data interchange, when one organization exchange or one organization communicates some documents to another organization through electronic data interchange, that means the computers of one organization is connected with the computers of other organization through networks, and these computers are involved in exchanging or sharing documents between the organizations. So therefore, when a particular organization sends a document to another organization, and once that is received by the other organization, their computers are capable of processing that particular document directly inside their systems, because they are in a standard form, and they are in a standard form which is acceptable to both organizations. So which can be processed directly by the computers of both organizations. So therefore, when a particular say the sending organization prepares the particular organization and sends it to the other organization, which is the receiving organization. So the receiving organization is capable of processing the particular document directly inside their computers. So this Alibaba example is not directly related to this one. So this is a common example which we can which we can usually take for these electronic marketplaces. So Alibaba is a electronic marketplace connecting many buyers and sellers. So Alibaba is an independent body. So it's an independent party. So which has created this particular marketplace, enabling large number of buyers and large number of sellers to connect with each other. And when a transaction takes place, so they will charge a commission, usually from the seller. So that is the income for this particular organization. So that is about business to business environment. Is it clear, or is there anything not clear? Now, one other thing I forgot to mention was that the electronic data interchange. Now, this is not a new technology. Now, this technology has been used by business organizations even in 1960s. Therefore, there is no connection between electronic data interchange and the internet. So, well before the internet came, this particular technology was used to connect business organizations and share these standard documents between them. So therefore, even in 1960s, they used electronic data interchange to share information, to share documents between them. So when they share these electronic documents between them, naturally, that will increase the efficiency of their processes. So when an organization enters some data into an electronic document, and then send it to another organization. And if the receiving organization can process that particular document directly in their computers, definitely that will increase the efficiency of the operation. So therefore, as I mentioned earlier, if a purchase order is generated by a buying organization, and if it is sent to a particular supplier, and if the supplier can process the particular document inside their computers directly, uh, without any say manual involvement, or with only manual with limited manual interactions, so naturally the efficiency of the particular process will increase. Efficiency of the particular transactions will increase, so benefiting both organizations. So therefore, please remember that this technology is not related to or is not something related to the internet. This particular technology was used some decades back, but today organizations use electronic data interchange, but they use the internet as the infrastructure. Now, earlier, they had to use other telecommunication networks to communicate between them, but they use electronic data interchange today, and they use the internet as the infrastructure, connecting the two organizations, facilitating them exchange of information and documents between them. So that also, I think you have to remember. Is there anything not clear about business to business e-commerce?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Then we are moving to the third category, that is consumer to consumer electronic commerce. Now here, the transactions take place between two consumers. So the buyer is a consumer and seller is also a consumer. So one consumer becomes the seller and the other consumer becomes the buyer. Therefore, basically, the transactions take place between two individual consumers. So that is the basis of consumer to consumer electronic commerce. The transaction takes place between two individual consumers. One is a seller and the other consumer is a buyer. This is the business model that facilitates commerce between private individuals. So this is a business model facilitating the transactions between private individuals. Whether it's for goods or services, this category of e-commerce connects people to do business with one another. So the transactions can be related to goods or transactions related to services. So whatever it is, this particular category basically connect the individual consumers with other individuals for performing business transactions. Electronic personal advertising. So how can we do these particular transactions between consumers? Electronic personal advertising of products or services to buy or sell by consumers at electronic newspaper sites, consumer e-commerce portals, or personal websites is also an important form of C2C e-commerce. Now, again, I think I did not mention the abbreviations used for these particular three categories. For the first category, we use the abbreviation B2C to indicate business to consumer. Here we use the abbreviation B2B to indicate business to business. And for this last category, we use the abbreviation C2C to indicate consumer to consumer. So that is highlighted here. Then, so how can we enable this C2C transaction? There should be some platform which enable us to connect with other individual consumers. So we may use different platforms. Say one example highlighted here, we can place an advertisement in an electronic newspaper site. So if I am the seller, I will publish an advertisement in an electronic newspaper site or some other site on the internet. So indicating the item that I have to sell. So today there are many other options. You don't have to say go to a newspaper site. There are many other options available for consumers. For say, for example, in Sri Lanka, one example can be Ikman.lk. So likewise, it can be it can be an option available for a consumer to connect with other consumers. So consumer e-commerce portal. So the Ikman.lk can be considered as a portal enabling the consumers to connect with other consumers. So then again, we may or certain individuals may have their own personal websites. So then they can use their personal websites to advertise what they have to say. So therefore, there can be different methods available or different options available for individual consumers to connect with other individual consumers. The most famous example used is eBay.com for this C2C category, because when eBay started their business, they focused on this particular category. So basically, they facilitated transactions between individual consumers. But today, it is not the case. The business organizations are also present there. So therefore, no, the consumers are present there, of course. So individual consumers can connect with other consumers. So this particular category is supported by eBay. But the other options are also available, and the transactions can take place between businesses, and also it can be between a business and consumer. So those are also basically facilitated today. So if we take Ikman.lk also, I think the primary focus was this one, consumer to consumer. So but today you may find that businesses are present there, enabling business organizations to connect with consumers or to connect with other business organizations. Is there anything not clear on consumer to consumer category?
It's clear, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now we are moving to a new subtitle, Essential E-Commerce Architecture. Here, basically, we are going to identify 9 important or essential e-commerce processes or e-commerce components. Without, we cannot implement electronic commerce successfully within our organizations. So therefore, everyone should be aware about these particular 9 components, because focusing on these particular 9 components will be very, very essential for the success of our e-commerce operations. The essential e-commerce processes required for the successful operation and management of e-commerce activities are illustrated in figure 9.4. This these essential, they are identified as essential e-commerce processes, so which are required for successful e-commerce operations. So they are highlighted here. We can identify 9 such components or processes: access control and security, profiling and personalizing, search management, content management, catalog management, payment, workflow management, event notification, collaboration, and trading. So those are the 9 essential elements, so 9 essential components, so 9 essential processes. So whatever the terms that we utilize, so they are very much important, very much essential for the success of our e-commerce operations. The figure outlines the 9 key components of an e-commerce process architecture. E-commerce process architecture, that is the foundation of e-commerce initiatives of many companies today. Now, when it comes to an e-commerce, behind the particular, say, process, e-commerce process, those components should be there to facilitate the particular e-commerce transaction. So therefore, it provides a necessary foundation for our e-commerce initiatives. It provides a necessary foundation for our e-commerce processes or e-commerce transactions. So without which we are not in a position to perform the particular operation successfully. So therefore, without this particular foundation or without these particular 9 components, so we are not in a position to proceed with our e-commerce initiative successfully. We concentrate on the role these processes play in e-commerce systems. We are going to focus on the role of each process in these e-commerce systems. But you should recognize that many of these components may be used in internal non-commerce business applications. Now, we highlighted that there are 9 important components, but they are not limited to e-commerce systems. And some of them may be relevant and may be very much applicable to other internal systems as well. So that is what is highlighted here. So they are not limited to e-commerce application. They can be relevant for other business applications that are used within the organization as well. So if we just think about, say, access control and security. Access control and security, we are going to discuss it in detail. It primarily focuses on, controlling access to the particular, say, e-commerce systems. So if we think about controlling access to, say, systems, so that is relevant for internal systems as well. So we are very much concerned about access control, and we want to ensure that only the authorized personnel within the organization can access our internal systems. So therefore, even internal systems cannot be accessed by all employees within the organization. So there will be various restrictions imposed, access controls imposed to prevent other employees from accessing those internal systems. So therefore, the access control and security is very much relevant for internal systems or other internal systems as well. Similarly, there can be several other components that are relevant for internal systems as well. So therefore, you can, as we elaborate, you can think about those components and see whether they are relevant for your other internal systems or whether they are relevant only for e-commerce systems. I am not going to highlight about the sub processes highlighted here because we are going to discuss about each and every component specified here, the 9 components. So as we discuss them, so we may focus on these sub areas, so sub components highlighted here. We are going to start with access control and security. E-commerce processors must establish mutual trust and secure access between the parties in an e-commerce transaction by authenticating users, authorizing access, and enforcing security features. Now here, under access control and security, three main areas are highlighted when it comes to e-commerce transactions. One is authenticating users, the other one is authorizing users, the third one is enforcing security features. Then these three are three separate things that we should focus. So therefore, we should realize that authenticating is different from authorizing. So therefore, they are not uh, similar things. So authenticating and authorizing are two different things which we have to focus on in relation to our e-commerce operations. Then we will look at what we mean by authenticating and how we are going to implement it within these e-commerce processes, and also what is authorization and how we are going to do it, and also how we are going to enforce security. Method for authenticating users. Now, authentication basically refers to determining the identity of individual users. So that basically refers to determining the identity, or we can use a better term, authenticity of users. So whether they are eligible users. So whether they are eligible users to access the system. So we have to verify the authenticity of the particular user. So that is authenticating users. So how can we verify the authenticity of users? We can use different methods. So one is, of course, utilization of usernames and passwords. So that is the most common technique or most common method used to verify the authenticity of users. So when you want to access certain systems, you will be asked to enter the username and passwords. That is, the system is verifying your authenticity. But in addition to that, there are certain other techniques which can be utilized, like encryption key, digital certificates, and signatures. Now, I'm not going to again discuss these things here because there is a separate chapter on security, and in that particular chapter, you will be getting more details about encryption, digital certificates, and digital signatures. So therefore, I don't want to take time here. So anyhow, those can also be used to verify the authenticity of individuals, authenticity of users. So therefore, that can be done utilizing these techniques. But again, maybe apart from that, nowadays you may get things like one-time passwords, OTPs. So that is also used to verify the authenticity of users. So therefore, different techniques are available and they are being used by organization to verify the authenticity of users. Then the e-commerce site must then authorize. After verifying the authenticity, they need to authorize. So what are we going to do and authorize? They must then authorize access to only those parts of the site that an individual user needs to accomplish his or her particular transactions. Now we should authorize the particular users to access only the relevant parts of the particular system. So that must be done, because when a user enters into a particular system, and he will not be allowed to access the whole system. So that is applicable to any system used by an organization, and therefore that applies to e-commerce systems as well. So therefore, the users will be, or the authorized users will be will be allowed to access only the relevant parts of the particular system. So therefore, that has to be determined. So that can change depending on the user. So first we have to identify the particular user through these techniques, and then depending on the user, the authorization will differ. Suppose if it is a banking system, and if a particular, say, employee enters into the system, the employee will have a wide access. But if you are an internet banking user, the banking system will not allow you to access maybe the accounts of other individuals, other customers. So you can access only your account. So likewise, access will be limited to your account. But for an employee, access will be wider, and he can access accounts of any customers usually. So therefore, that sort of authorization should be determined. Authorization should be made. So that is the second step. Then users will not be given access to other people's accounts, restricted company data, and webmaster administration area. Now, this is related to authorization. So you will be authorized to access only the parts that you have access to or that you are allowed to access to. So therefore, you will not be allowed to access to the other people's accounts, and also you will not be allowed to access the confidential data of the organization, and also you will not be allowed to access the webmaster administration area, who will be in charge of basically creating the content of the website and managing the particular website. So that is an individual, basically that's an employee working. Webmaster is usually an employee working for the organization, basically managing the website. So therefore, his area will not be allowed to access. So likewise, the authorization will limit the access to individuals to the relevant parts. Then we are moving to the security aspect. Security processes protect the resources of e-commerce sites from threats such as hacker attacks, theft of passwords or credit card numbers, and system failures happening due to various external threats. So when we are connected to the internet, especially, there can be variety of threats we face. So it can be the hacker threats, the individuals, third parties hacking our system or entering into our systems without authorization and doing some damage. So that has to be prevented. So if this happens again, there can be variety of issues we face. So if the particular hacker can damage our system and leading to stoppage of our operations or halt of our operations, close of our e-commerce site. So likewise, so maybe damaging the data that that are in our databases. So likewise, there can be variety of problems that we may encounter. So therefore, we need to implement adequate security measures within the organization and for e-commerce site and for e-commerce systems to prevent hacker attacks. Then we need to prevent stealing of passwords and credit card numbers, because these details may be stored in our databases. The passwords of individual users, they are usually stored, and also in certain instances, credit card information about individual users may also be stored, and we need to protect them. So if we cannot protect them, we will be in deep trouble. So if your passwords, usernames and passwords are stolen, so we can be in deep trouble. So they can be utilized by a third party again to do various fraudulent transactions. So credit card numbers also same. If we keep customer credit card numbers in our databases, and we have a responsibility to protect them, and if they are stolen, again we will be responsible for the damages caused to the particular customers. Then again, our system may be damaged, system may be disrupted due to various attacks or various other damages caused by the third parties. We need to prevent them. So therefore, we need to prevent system failures happening. So that therefore that can happen due to a variety of reasons. So therefore, we have to ensure that those things don't happen within our organizations, and our systems are safe and secure. and we can continue our business without any disruption. So therefore, those type of external threats will have to be prevented. Therefore, we need to install different types of security measures within our organization and for our systems. Yes. Is there anything not clear in relation to access control and security? Clear or not clear?
Clear, sir.
Right, thank you. So we'll move to the second one, second category, or second component, or second process, profiling and personalizing. So then, as I mentioned earlier, this can be relevant for our other internal systems as well. So please evaluate on your own whether these other components are relevant for internal systems, other internal systems as well. Profiling and personalizing. Profiling processes gather data on you and your website behavior and choices, as well as build electronic profiles of your characteristics and preferences. Now, the profiling is a process. Profiling is a process which basically will collect data about the individual users to the website and their behavior and also the choices. Now, choices can also be included under behavior. So behavior and choices, what a particular user does in the particular website. So the behavior is related to what a particular user does when he or she comes to the particular website, and then what he selects, the choices. And then thereafter, after collecting these data, the profiling and personalizing basically involves building the electronic profiles of individual users containing the characteristics and preferences of those individual users. So then a profile. So it's basically a file consisting of information in relation to the individual characteristics and preferences of those individual users. So thereafter, the particular file can be utilized by the organization for different purposes. So when an electronic file is available containing the information about the individuals, indicating the behavior, the preferences or choices of these individual users, it can be utilized by the organizations, especially for marketing purposes. Then moving on, user profiles are developed using profiling tools such as user registration, cookie files, website behavior tracking software, and user feedback. Now, here it says now profiling is basically this is a process of gathering data and thereafter building this particular profile. So how do you gather data? There are different options available to an organization to gather data on individuals. Here, some examples are given. These are not all. These are certain examples, but the organizations may use different other options as well. First one is a user registration method. Now, there are instances where you are requested to register with a particular organization or with a particular website. So when you register, definitely you need to provide certain personal information. So you will provide some personal data about you, so which can be used in developing your electronic profile. Another option is cookie files. Cookie files and also website behavior tracking software. Now, these two will do the same thing. Now, there can be different tools utilized identified as cookie files or website behavior tracking software. So they can be used to determine or identify the behavior of individuals on the website. So, and the choices that they made on the particular website. So when you go to website, you may do different things there. You may search different things there. So those will be captured through this particular software. And also user feedback can be captured, can be used to uh, get data to build your electronic to build the particular profile about you. So again, user feedback may be obtained utilizing again different methods. They may send a questionnaire, and you may ask to fill the particular questionnaire to give a feedback. So you may do it. So from the particular feedback that they receive, so they can get certain information to build your profile. So, but feedback can be obtained in other forms also. You may send a message to the bank regarding the products that you purchased or regarding the service that you receive. So that will be a feedback to the organization, and that can also be utilized to get necessary data to build your profile. So therefore, there are different options available for an organization to develop the profile of individual users. These profiles are then used to recognize you as an individual user and provide you with a personalized view of the contents of the site, as well as product recommendations and personalized web advertising as part of one-to-one marketing strategy. Now, for what purpose can we use this particular profile? There are different purposes to which we can utilize this particular profile. Again, certain examples are highlighted here. So these are again just examples of users of an electronic profile, but there can be other users as well. Now, first one is the particular profile or the information contained in the profile can be used to provide you with a personalized view of the content of the website. Now, certain websites have this particular feature, providing a personalized view. Now, personalized view is a particular, say, web page, so which will be displayed to match with your requirements. So then how do they do it? They will utilize your profile. Now, the profile contains information about you and also about your behavior, choices, or preferences. Now, these information can be used to identify your preferences, basically, what you prefer, what you need. So then the personalized web page will be created depending on these particular preferences. Now, so therefore, when you basically log into a particular website, so that can be much easier when you log in. When you log in, you can be identified as an individual user easily. So then the organization can look at your profile and then display some personalized content to match with your preferences, to match with your needs, to match with your choices. So that is one of the users of these profiles, as well as for product recommendations. So then again, this can be utilized to come up with recommendations. Now, when the organization has your data, and when the organization has gathered your say contact details like email, now they can analyze the particular data from time to time, then identify your preferences, and thereafter they are in a position to recommend something relevant for you, recommend something which is needed by you, so which is preferred by you. So therefore, from time to time, the organization is in a position to come up with these recommendations based on what they have gathered in their electronic profiles. Then personalized web advertising as part of one-to-one marketing. Now this can also be done depending on what you search on a particular website. the advertising can be done to match with the particular behavior, to match with the particular choices or the preferences. Now, you may definitely have experienced this one when you search something in Google. So this happens. If you search mobile phones in Google, thereafter they will display advertisements in relation to mobile phones. So if you search something else, if you search say books, computers or something like that, depending on what you search, the Google is capable of displaying related advertisements. So how do they do it? So they have captured data related to your choices, related to your preferences. So therefore, that can also be done. Then profiling processes are also used to help authenticate your identity for account management and payment purposes and gather data for customer relationship management, marketing planning, and website development. There are some other users identified here. So when it comes to authenticating your account or authenticating your identity, so then what you have already provided can be checked. So therefore, some information you have already provided through the user registration process. So then that is there. So then to verify your account, so that can be utilized. And also when it comes to say payment processes, you may have provided your address. So that can be automatically displayed when you want to purchase something and when you want to deliver it, a delivery address is required. That can be directly captured from your account and that can be displayed automatically by the payment system. So that can be another usage. And also it can be used to facilitate customer relationship management. Now the employees of the organization can go through the particular electronic profiles to learn about individual customers and then do a better customer service and interact with customers in a more effective manner. If you interact with an unknown customer, so then you may be effective, you may not be effective. But if you know the particular customer in advance, definitely you are in a position to interact with the particular customer in a more effective manner. So therefore, learning can be done through this particular learning about individual customers can be done through the particular electronic profiles. And also for marketing planning. So as we mentioned earlier, maybe for recommendations. So when a particular say new product comes or new product is produced, so you can identify to whom that is relevant. So by analyzing the preferences of individual customers, you can see to which category or which segment that is relevant, and then do marketing activities accordingly. And also, especially for website management, means basically for providing personalized web experience or personalized websites, the particular information can be utilized. Yes, that is about profiling and personalizing. Is it clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yeah. Now, what do you think? Is this relevant for your internal system?
When we are shopping, sir, this can be experienced.
Sorry?
When we are doing shopping, this can be experienced.
Wait, I'll put my headphone microphones. Can you repeat the question?
No, sir. When we are doing shopping, we can experience these things.
Yes, yes, of course, yes. Now, what I asked was that whether this particular, say, process is relevant for internal systems.
So for some businesses, this is relevant, but in Sri Lanka, for most cases, this is not relevant.
But this can be relevant when it comes to HR systems. No, basically, you may create profiles of individual employees. For that, you will gather data. Now, here, when it comes to e-commerce processes, the objective is different. Why you gather this data? But when it comes to, say, HR purposes, the objective is different. But you gather data and you can create the profiles of individual employees and keep them in their systems. No? Therefore, within the organization, also gathering data about individuals and keeping those data will be relevant, and this particular process can also be relevant for other internal systems as well. We have to move to the next one. We'll take the break and we'll meet around 2:55.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Okay, now we are moving to the next process, that is search management. The first point says the efficient and effective search processes provide a top e-commerce website capability that helps customers find the specific products or service that want to evaluate or buy. Now, the searching facility, I think, is very important when it comes to an e-commerce site, because everything a particular individual user requires cannot be displayed on the home page. So because the individuals may be interested in different items, therefore we should provide a particular mechanism for individual users to search what they want. So therefore, this is an important aspect that should be present in any e-commerce website. If there is a website without searching facility, so then definitely customers will be in trouble finding what they want, and they may not like such sites, and they may not come back to such a website again. So how can we get this search facility into our e-commerce site? The second point elaborates on that one. E-commerce software packages can include a website search engine component. The particular web application that we purchase may have the particular feature which is already embedded into the particular package or system. So then we can get it, or we will get it. So usually an e-commerce site may not be developed in-house, and you may purchase it from an outside vendor. So then when you purchase it, that may already be built into that one. And but there can be instances where that is not available. Then the second point says a company may acquire customized e-commerce search engine from search technology companies like Google and Requisite Technology. So there can be other options available for organizations to purchase search engines from some specialized companies like Google and Requisite Technology, as highlighted here. So because they are experts in this particular field, so you may get a maybe more comprehensive searching facility into your e-commerce site from such a specialized company. So therefore, those can be two options available to incorporate or to embed the searching facility into the existing e-commerce system. Search engines may use a combination of search techniques, including searches based on content. Example, product description or parameters. Example, above, below, between a range of values, so multiple properties of a product. Now, this is again just an example given. Now, when you go to a particular website, suppose you go to an electronic store like maybe say Abans.com or SingerSriLanka.com or mysoftlogic.com or LK, I'm not sure. So whatever it is, you may even in a Sri Lankan website, you may get different searching options. You may search based on the say product description, or maybe based on the brands, and you may just specify a particular word in relation to the particular product and search, and you may select a particular brand. You may select price ranges, especially when it comes to say mobile phones, something like that. So many websites provide that facility. You can search mobile phones coming under a particular price range. So likewise, searching facility can be made available under different criteria. Is there anything again not clear on search management?
This is okay, sir. It's clear.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We move forward. It's raining here. I don't know whether you get some noise. The next process of component is content and catalog management. In the particular earlier figure, I think figure 9.5, these two were highlighted as two separate components there, but here the description is done for those two processes together. Content and catalog management software helps e-commerce companies develop, generate, deliver, update, and archive text data and multimedia information at e-commerce websites. So content and catalog management software basically helps an organization to develop the necessary content into their e-commerce site. Now, content can be different content as highlighted here. It can contain text-based data. It can contain multimedia information. We highlighted when it comes to multimedia, in addition to text, it includes audio-based data, video-based data, and so on. So therefore, you can uh, develop content and you can maybe display or deliver the particular content, and also you can update the relevant content. You can keep the particular content for future use. So likewise, there can be different options available under content and catalog management software, which basically helps you to manage the content in your e-commerce website. So therefore, depending on your organization, what you need to display on the website can change. So anyhow, you need to develop necessary content to attract prospective customers to your website or to attract users to your website and to enable them to access what they want. Then e-commerce content frequently takes the form of multimedia catalogs of product information. Now, when it comes to an uh, selling organization, uh, developing this multimedia content or multimedia catalogs containing product information will be very, very wide, because before purchasing, we will go through the particular product information. So product information will have to be presented uh, in detail, and so then maybe you may first present a set of summarized information, but you may give the option to go into details if the customer wishes so, if the customer requires to study more. So maybe again, if you display product specification, when you select the particular product, first only key set of product specifications may be displayed, but the customer will be given the opportunity to go into details. And also, when it comes to images, maybe first only say front image may be displayed. So thereafter, different other angles, images of different other angles of the same product can also be uh, displayed according to the customer's requirement. And also maybe 3D view can be provided if the customer requires, and also a video support or video illustration can also be provided to provide a better understanding about the product to the customer. Video illustrations can be provided on how to use the particular product. So likewise, the product catalogs can be developed utilizing multimedia, enabling the customers to go through the particular product information in a more effective manner. Content and catalog management software works with the profiling tools we mentioned previously to personalize the content of web pages seen by individual users. Now, we earlier talked about personalizing web pages to match with individual users. We mentioned that that is basically done utilizing filing tools. But then how do we display the particular content? Displaying content is related to content and catalog management. So what is to be displayed on the particular website is supported by or is facilitated by content and catalog management software. So therefore, this particular software will can work with profiling tools, so which can access the individual preferences of users and then provide the personalized content, which we highlighted earlier. So therefore, uh, content management software will have to work together with profiling tools to identify the personal requirements and then display the relevant content for individual users. Content and catalog management may be expanded to include product configuration processes that support web-based customer self-service and the mass customization of companies' products. Now, this content and catalog management software will be relevant when it comes to product configuration process or customizing a particular product. So again, when you customize a product, the content becomes relevant. So you may select different parts in building a particular product. If it is a computer which you are going to purchase, so you may customize the computer to match with your specific requirements, and then you need to select different components, and so then this information related to those different components are managed by the content and catalog management software. So then the relevant information will have to be displayed before a decision is made by the user. The customer can select different components and then the relevant information will be displayed, and thereafter the customer can decide which part to be uh, incorporated into the particular product. Okay, give me 1 second, please. Again. So, yeah, that is about content and catalog management in relation to our e-commerce processes. Is it clear?
So, excuse me, can you explain the last point, that configuration process?
Now, if you configure a particular product, or if you customize a particular product, now suppose you are going to build a computer. So you are going to order a computer and you are building the particular, say, computer by incorporating different components. Suppose you have to decide on a hard disk, and the company may have, say, different hard disks available, which can be built into the computer that you are going to make. So then you need to decide on which say hard disk you are going to utilize. So then you may select different options available there, different hard disks available there, and then maybe when you select a particular part, the relevant maybe at least summarized set of information will be displayed on the side of the screen so that you can learn about that particular part. Then you can select a different part, and then again the information related to that part can be displayed in a particular section of in the screen. So then that is product information, and this managing product information on a website is done by this content and catalog management software. So therefore, when it comes to a customization process, the customer will have to be guided in the customization process. So when guiding, the necessary information will have to be provided whenever the customer requires them. So therefore, that is supported by this container catalog management software. That is what I mentioned.
Thank you, sir.
Is it okay or not yet?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Clear.
We'll move to workflow management. And again, the term workflow, I think we have come across several times. And the workflow basically refers to a series of repeatable tasks. It's a workflow basically refers to a series of repeatable tasks that we use in accomplishing a particular objective, in accomplishing a particular goal. So then business process may be considered as a workflow if it consists of a series of repeatable tasks. Repeatable means you are going to utilize the same task again and again. Within organizations also, there can be certain tasks, certain processes which you repeat several times or number of times or very frequently every day. So then that sort of processes are basically identified as these workflows. So then workflow management basically refers to managing such workflows. So managing the series of repeatable tasks which you perform with the objective accomplishing certain objectives. So we'll see how we can utilize such workflow management processes to support our e-commerce operations. Many of the business processes in e-commerce applications can be managed and partially automated with the help of workflow management software. Now, many of the business processes in e-commerce application, now when it comes to an e-commerce application, it can consist of number of business processes. Here it says they can be managed completely or partially with the help of this workflow management software. So we will see how we can utilize workflow management software to manage the particular business processes. So anyhow, workflow is a collection of tasks, so which are basically repeated by the organization usually every day. In workflow management, in both e-business and e-commerce depends on a workflow software engine containing software models of the business processes to be accomplished. Now, workflow management here, it says, relies on something called the workflow software engine. So this is the backbone of this workflow management software, which is identified as workflow software engine, which contains certain models of business processes. So that means now when business process is usually a business process is a collection of tasks. So we mentioned that if it is a workflow, it is basically a collection of tasks which are repeated by the organization very frequently. So then the models of such business processes are available in this particular software, which we can utilize in developing the particular business processes that we want. in automating the business processes that we want. The workflow model expresses the predefined sets. The workflow model expresses the predefined sets of business rules, roles of stakeholders, authorization requirements, routing alternatives, databases used, and the sequence of tasks required for each e-commerce process. Now, in the workflow software engine here, it says it utilizes certain software models, which are identified as these workflow models here. Now, these models consist of predefined set of tools. Now, when it comes to a business process, it is a collection of tasks, as I mentioned earlier, and these tasks will be related to, will be guided by different rules, procedures, or policies. Now, they are available in this particular model. So, how a particular task is accomplished is already available in this particular model. And also, what the stakeholders or what the users, what the employees can do with the particular process can also be defined here, or they are available, and we can define what they can do with the particular task, with the particular process, and also what sort of authorization we can provide, or we can incorporate, or we can build into. That sort of options are also available, and also routing alternatives indicating that what sort of maybe what sort of different options that are available for us, maybe to send information. If it is sending information to different parties, so what sort of options what sort of options are available for us, and also the databases used and the sequence of tasks that we perform. Now, when it comes to workflow, I want to mention one other thing. Now, I mentioned that it is a set of repeatable tasks, and all usually we can identify the sequence of tasks to be performed there. Usually, there is a sequence of tasks which we perform one after the other. So, therefore, that can also be defined here with the particular workflow models. So therefore, we can use the existing models to automate and define what we want to perform very much easily. So therefore, we are not developing something from the beginning. Now there are models available which may not be exactly matching with our requirements, but we are in a position to modify what is available there to match with our own requirements. So therefore, with the help of this particular software, we are in a position to develop an automated business process. So related to the particular say e-commerce applications, or related to e-commerce transactions. Thus, workflow systems ensure that the proper transactions, decisions, and work activities are performed, and the correct data and documents are routed to the right employees, customers, suppliers, and other business stakeholders. So when we connect these different tasks in the correct sequence, so we will end up with the correct business process. So then, which we can use to perform our transactions in a more efficient and effective manner. And also, these processes will help us to arrive at decisions again, maybe in a timely manner, because when we process transactions, it will definitely generate information in a timely manner, so helping us to make decisions, and we can basically perform those activities in an automated environment. So then these different documents, as I mentioned earlier, you may have to send these different information or different documents, different data to different individuals depending on the requirement. So that is also facilitated by these workflow management systems. Now, one example is highlighted here. So this here it says the role of catalog or content management and workflow management in a web-based procurement process. Now this workflow is related to web-based procurement process. The workflow is related to web-based procurement process. Now here they are utilizing a system identified as, so application identified as MMS market system that is used by the Microsoft Corporation. Now here they have illustrated what sort of tasks are involved and in what order they basically perform the particular task. So that is why I said now workflow basically is a collection of tasks which we perform with the intention of achieving certain objectives. And then the particular tasks are basically repeatable, indicating those tasks will be performed by the organization again and again. And also, usually there is a sequence of tasks which we can identify, which we perform one after the other. So therefore, when we use the term workflow, uh, those features are important. So then here they have identified 7 tasks. What are the 7 tasks? Browsing the suppliers, finding products, order items, confirm order, transmit order, process order, and order completed, order fulfillment. That is the final task. And there is a sequence of tasks that we perform starting from number 1 and going up to number 7. And this is related to procurement, so indicating that it is a repeatable task. So it's a repetitive task that we perform. So from time to time. So therefore, it can be identified as a workflow, and we can use this workflow management software to automate the particular process. And then browsing suppliers, here it says we can rely on multi-supplier catalogs, which we have access to, and also maybe corporate catalogs, which we have access to. And if it is multi-supplier catalog, that means catalogs related to different suppliers, and so that may be available internally, which we may access to content and catalog management software as highlighted here. It may be available internally, or we may access those information through extranets as well. And also certain information may be available within the organization inside corporate catalogs. So therefore, browsing supplies and finding products may be dependent upon different catalogs, whether it is available internally or externally. Thereafter, we can decide on a supplier and place an order. You say order item, you may enter the relevant details into an order form. And also here it says availability, you may, before maybe confirming the order, you may check the availability also. And the relevant systems may provide provide information related to the availability of the particular product. So then before confirming, you can verify the availability of the products. And after that, you may confirm the order. So then the order entry will go into the system. After that, the order can be transmitted to the relevant, say, suppliers. And here it says approval workflow. So now these are performed, these activities are performed by the employees within, say, Microsoft organization here. So this is the ordering company, and this is the buyer, and employees in the buying organization perform these particular activities. So basically, 1 to 6, 1 to 5 are related to employees of the buying organization. Now, processing order can be done within this particular, say, within a particular supply organization. So here they say approval workflow, purchase order workflow. So they may have their own workflows processing the particular order within the particular organization, and thereafter order fulfillment, order completion can be there by shipping and then sending the invoices and making necessary communications with the buying organization. So this is an example of a workflow in relation to procurement of items from a supplier. Then is there anything not clear regarding this workflow management illustration made here or here?
So excuse me,
Yeah.
how the catalog content and workflow management link to the order entry in the previous diagram? Previous diagrams of the previous figure 9.5. So the catalog content and workforce management, it is linked with the order entry. So
Yeah, because I think as I highlighted earlier, now when you access some content, it can be product related information or whatever it is, that is the information are displayed with the help of this catalog and content management software. So therefore, when a employee browser suppliers, now the supplier details are displayed to the particular employee, so that is displayed with the support of this particular software. So it may access supply information which are available from an internal source or an external source. So supply catalogs and corporate catalogs are specified here now. If it is an external source, so it will have to connect with the external sources and get the information back to the particular employee. Accessing content and catalog management software is required to display the necessary content. So because content is displayed with the help of this particular software.
okay, sir, how that links to order entry?
Order entry again now order.
Not the order form, sir. Order entry, the below one after the value. That one.
Now, confirming order mean now this is related to confirmation. Now maybe you will be basically communicating the particular order. Once you confirm the order, you will your ultimate step will be to communicate that particular order to the supplier. No, that is what is now. You are entering the order here. You are entering the order into the order entry form here, and here basically I think they are they specify they are linking it to the confirmation of the order. Now here the linkage is here basically. Order items, you order items into the order form and thereafter you are confirming the order, so which will be transmitted to the supplier.
So can you say with example for when we purchasing the item from Dara's websites or something?
Yeah.
Can we simulate this your example?
Now, the Dara's website will also have this content and catalog management software. No?
Yes, sir.
So then whatever you click, when you click, some information will be displayed.
Yes.
That is supported by this particular software. So they will access those information from a particular page, whether it is available inside the organization or outside the organization. So they will connect to the necessary source and get the information.
Okay, sir.
Is there any other question? So we'll move forward to the next one, event notification. Then this is another component which we can identify in our e-commerce processes. Most e-commerce applications are event-driven systems. Most e-commerce applications are event-driven systems that respond to a multitude of events. From a new customer's first website access to payment to delivery processes to innumerable customer relationship and supply chain management activity. So that here it says the e-commerce applications are event driven. That means a particular event triggers another event. A particular event leads to another event. So that is what is identified as event driven system. So then here it says these applications respond to different types of events. So some examples are highlighted here. We will take a couple of examples. First one is it says from a new customer's first website access. Now, if a new customer comes to the website, that's an important event for a particular organization. A visit of a new customer may be recognized mostly through the IP address of the particular user or the prospective customer, because every IP address accessed by the particular website or reached by the particular website is stored within their databases. So then they can recognize whether the particular user is an existing user or whether it's a new user. So if you access through a new IP, you will be recognized as a new user. So then if it is a new user or a new customer or a new potential customer, that is an important event. Because when a new customer comes, the organization should do its maximum to say convert the particular user to a customer or to convert the particular visitor to a customer. And then later on convert the particular customer to a loyal customer. So therefore, identification of a new customer is an important event. So then what can the organization do, or what can the website do? So they can take some action. So they can respond in different ways. Now, again, as the famous example in relation to Amazon. So Amazon used this technique to offer lower prices to new customers, new potential customers. So when the Amazon's website recognized that a particular user or a customer is a new user or new customer, they offered lower prices. So if I am a new customer, I will see a lower price compared to you. You can be an existing customer. You go and accept the same product. You see a particular price, but I see a lower price for the same product. But you don't know that I see a low price. So therefore, usually this did not damage Amazon's reputation because the individual users do not know the prices seen by the other users. So therefore, that sort of things can be done when that is an important event. And also when it comes to payment, so when you proceed to payments, so that is one event which will lead to again different other events in relation to payment. So when it comes to payment, you need to collect different information. It can be credit card related information. It can be delivery address related information. It can be other some confirmatory information requested from the website. So likewise, maybe entering OTPs or something like that. So likewise, there are different events taking place. So when you move forward with a particular event. So likewise, this delivery process, it can be delivery process, it can be customer relationship management, supply chain management. So different events take place leading to emergence of certain other events. So which the organization may have to respond. or the customers may have to respond, or the suppliers may have to respond. So likewise, the e-commerce applications therefore can be identified as event-driven systems. So where the events leads to certain other events, or events trigger some other events. So that is what is elaborated here. Then customers, suppliers, employees, and other stakeholders must be notified of all events that might affect their status in transaction. Now, when you proceed with the transaction, then the particular transaction status can be changed due to different reasons. So then the relevant information will have to be communicated to the relevant party. If it is a customer, so you may have placed the order, hoping that say products are available, and you did not get a confirmation as to whether the products are available or not. You have placed the order. So thereafter, the company will find that even though a particular customer has ordered something, and there are no stocks available with them. So then that will have to be notified to the customer for him to take an action. Usually the customer will be given the option of cancelling the particular order if he cannot wait. So the company may say that they can deliver it in say few days time, or they can specify the number of days that they can take to supply, or the customer may be given the option of cancelling the order. So likewise, again, maybe customer may be promised to deliver the particular order within 5 days time, but due to some maybe problem in the transportation network, there can be some delays taking place. So customer is expecting it to reach within 5 days. Now it is inevitable that you can't supply it in 5 days. It may take say 8 days. So then it's a change of status in the particular transaction, and then definitely you need to inform it to the particular customer immediately. So likewise, there can be certain events that change the status of the particular transaction, which has to be communicated to the relevant parties immediately. Event notification software works with workflow management software to monitor all e-commerce processes and record all relevant events, including unexpected changes or problem situations. Now here it says this event notification software works with workflow management software to monitor all e-commerce processes and record relevant. Now, so if certain information is changed in relation to a particular order or particular process, now as we mentioned earlier, as we process as we proceed with a particular say transaction, there can be certain changes taking place into our status. So then that may have to be modified, and that modification may be done with the help of say workflow management software. So therefore, event notification system may have to work with this workflow management software when the transaction status are changed. Then continuing with event notification systems, then it works with user profiling software to notify all involved stakeholders automatically of important transaction events using appropriate user preferred methods of electronic messaging such as email, SMS, news group, or fax communication. Now, as I highlighted earlier, if some status change, and if it is related to the customers, and that has to be notified customers quickly, as highlighted here, utilizing appropriate user preferred methods of electronic messaging. Now, when you proceed with the particular transaction, and they may ask the preferred mode of communication, whether it is email or SMS. These are the two most used communication modes. So the two most used the options by e-commerce systems. Then, so you may have opted for email, or you may have opted for SMS. So depending on what you have opted, then the organization should send a particular message regarding the change of status as soon as possible. So therefore, there can be other forms of preferred modes identified as these discussion forums, fax communications. So likewise, depending on for what sort of maybe a discussion or interaction you are involved in. So a discussion forum can be a place of communication. So if you are involved in a discussion with the organization or interaction with the organization, your preferred mode can be the same place. You want to see the response back to the same place. So likewise, though it is the responsibility of the organization to communicate with the customer, utilizing the particular customer's preferred mode of communication. This notification includes the company's management, who then can monitor their employees' responsiveness to e-commerce events and customer and supplier feedback. Now, here basically it says when such notifications are sent, usually the system will generate a copy of the message to higher management as well. Now, suppose this particular communication is related to the sales people within the company, and then a message may go to customer regarding the status of change, and a copy will go to, say, a relevant employee or to the relevant employees, along with another copy to the company's management. So then when an employee takes action, so then that will also be copied to the particular company's management automatically. So then when a particular message is sent to a customer, and the management can monitor whether the employees take appropriate action or not. So therefore, these event notification systems will help the company management to determine whether the employees within the organization respond to the, say, customers in an efficient manner. So therefore, that sort of capabilities can also be built into the email notification system, so that they can manage such notifications, so they can manage such communications with the stakeholders in a more effective manner. Yes, again, is there any question regarding event notification?
Excuse me,
Yeah.
the event notification, is it system or is that also software?
No, that is basically part of the overall e-commerce system. Now here we are focusing on the components of a successful e-commerce system. No?
Yes, sir.
So at the beginning, we mentioned that in order to become, or in order to make an e-commerce system successful, we need to have these components.
Correct.
Therefore,
And sir, is it too compulsory to have workflow management system in order to have event notification?
Now here, what we mentioned was that now workflow management is necessary, because now it can be related to, say, processing orders. Workflow can be related to processing a sales order. Now it is a repetitive task consisting of different activities or different tasks which we perform usually in a sequence. So then these are actually essential. So there can be different types of workflows embedded into this e-commerce system, which you repeat again and again. And then now we mentioned that is required in relation to change of status. No, now when you process the order, utilizing workflow management software. So that is how you process the sales order. So when you process order, you end up with some information there. You end up with, say, order you specify that you supply it within say 5 days time. So that is related to the particular workflow. That is an outcome you get at the end. So therefore, if that is changed due to some reason, again, you need to make the particular change with the help of workflow systems. So if there are no products available, so then checking the product availability and fulfilling the order is done by this workflow system. Now, order management system, order processing system will check the availability of products. Then it will identify that there are no adequate stocks. So then there will be a problem in fulfilling the order. So that is the change of status that we highlighted here. So because of lack of stocks, you can't fulfill the particular order, which you need to communicate to the relevant stakeholder. So then along with that, so then if you are cancelling the order because of that one, again, that is done through the workflow system with the help of workflow management system.
Okay, so that is understood.
Yeah, okay.
And so the next slide, the event management last slide, the notification.
Yeah.
You said that the electronic messages such as email, SMS, that fax communication.
Yeah.
Is that also part of the e-commerce? And so when we log to sometimes websites, after that, after sometimes they send messages and emails, sending that there are conferences, meetings like that. Can we take that also as an example?
Yes, event notification. You means some information not related to this transaction, no?
No, not related to transaction. I mean, that is a different example. What I
Yeah.
may not be linked with this one. I just asked.
I need to also clarify on that matter.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I think most probably not. Now that is something else that you perform in relation to some marketing, no? So here we basically focus on the particular e-commerce transaction that we perform, and we consider about the maybe specific transaction and then the notifications in relation to that particular transaction. And I think a particular notification sent something not related to this particular transaction is not coming under this one.
Okay, so thank you.
There was another question.
Sir, here events means changes.
Yeah, events means certain say actions that you take. No, now here if you take, I don't know whether the term action is correct. Now here if you take this particular example, a new customer is visiting the particular website. Now that is an event for this particular company. New customer coming to the particular website. So it's an event. Payment, here it says it's an event. So it is something related to a process also. It's a part of process. So what did you ask? What was the question?
It's as an example, if the product is dispatched, we can take it as an event.
Yes.
It is communicated to the customer.
Yeah, yes.
The product is dispatched from the warehouse.
Yes, that is an event. So now when it is dispatched, the status of the transaction is changed. Now until that is dispatched, it may be in a warehouse. So from the warehouse, when it is dispatched, that information will be communicated. So if you have ordered something online, so you may have this experience where you get notifications at different stages. So that is managed by these email notification systems.
Anyway, sir, this should be a two-way communication, no? Because some of the changes can be happen from the end of the consumer. So those changes also need to be communicated to the supplier, as well as the changes that are occurring from the end of the supplier also need to be communicated to the consumer.
Yes, the customer may have the option of responding to the particular events or particular communications, of course, yes. Is there any other question?
Sir, how can we let the customers like respond if the workflow management like predefined processes are embedded into the system, because customer responses can be different, not like what is there in the system, not standardized it could be.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, now if it is a cancellation of order, and you may be communicating a link to the customer to cancel the order, no? That you get. So then you click, customer clicks, so that is a response coming from the customer. So which will be processed with the help of workflow management software there to cancel the generated order. That sort of two-way communication can take place. So interactions can take place. The organization sends something and the customer responds back, utilizing some options or some methods available.
Okay, so so it's like the customer cannot initiate something. The customer can take part in a process initiated by the system, no? Yes. From the end of the business.
Yeah, basically if the events are initiated by the system and communicated to the relevant stakeholders, and then there can be options available where the particular the stakeholders can respond back or take some action accordingly. Now, there are certain instances where I think when you again purchase online, certain systems again request you to confirm some other information like credit card information, or asking you to send an image of certain things or something like that. So the first the communication is generated by these event notification systems and sent to the customers, and the customers will have to reply back with the relevant information. Okay, is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, fine.
So is it relating to two-way communication?
Yeah, I think not always, but there are certain instances where these two-way communications or two-way interactions are possible.
Yeah, that the example you have provided regarding the
Yeah.
regarding the credit card transactions, that the notification coming from the credit card transactions, that is one-way communication. That's also we can take example for event notification. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We'll move forward to the next one. Collaboration and trading. This category of e-commerce processes consists of those tools that support the vital collaboration arrangements and trading services needed by customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders to accomplish e-commerce transactions. Then there is another component identified as collaboration and trading, so which we can identify under our overall e-commerce processes, so e-commerce systems. So then which will facilitate the collaboration and these trading services for the relevant stakeholders, whether it be customers, suppliers, or other stakeholders. Now, the collaboration tools include email, chat systems, and discussion groups. So different collaboration tools can be utilized depending on the organization and depending on the interactions made and depending on where you make the particular interactions and so on. So email, even SMS, chat systems, discussion groups, those can be utilized. The essential collaboration among systems trading partner, among business trading partners in e-commerce may also be provided by internet-based trading. Now, the first one is, here we talk about two aspects. One is collaboration, the other one is trading. So first we are looking at the collaboration tools which we can utilize to collaborate with individual users. So therefore, emails, chat system, discussion groups, and so on, different communication tools can be utilized to facilitate this particular process. Then the essential collaboration among the business trading partners, this collaboration can be provided by among the trading partners utilizing some trading services. No, not utilizing these communication tools as highlighted here. So utilizing something identified as trading services. So we will look at what we mean by these trading services. For example, B2b e-commerce web portals provided by companies like Alibaba and Commerce One support matchmaking, negotiation, mediation processes among business buyers and sellers. Now, here we refer to this particular e-commerce web portals, which we earlier referred to as e-commerce, I think, exchanges or e-commerce marketplaces. We use different terms to identify the same thing. So it can be an online exchange. We may use the term online exchange, online e-commerce marketplace, e-business marketplace, online e-commerce portal. Here it says e-commerce web portal. So all those terms are basically used to identify the same thing. That is a place which we allow the business organizations to interact with each other. Especially, it's a place where business buyers can meet business sellers. So business buyers can meet business sellers utilizing these particular portals. So then that is a place where the businesses can collaborate with others. So in order to perform their transactions. So there they may facilitate things like matchmaking, and then it says negotiation, mediation, and so on. So matchmaking is matching the buyers and sellers. Now buyers can specify what they want to buy. And thereafter, the particular systems, so these particular portals or the system that are used there can match the particular buyer's requirements with the sellers, and thereafter communicate it to the buyers. Now these sellers have the required products. So the buyer doesn't have to search for different suppliers there, for different sellers there. The matchmaking can help them. So the buyer just specify their requirements and the system will match their requirements with the prospective sellers and then communicate details about the particular sellers. And also it can facilitate negotiation. I mentioned earlier that when it comes to business to business environment, spot purchasing is very limited because the business buyers will buy in large quantities. They don't want to go for spot purchasing. And spot purchasing is a situation where you buy at fixed prices specified by the seller. So that doesn't happen usually in a B2B environment when you buy in large quantities. So then negotiation between the buyer and seller is also facilitated through the same systems. And also mediation processes mean there can be certain issues arising in relation to, say, non-compliance of maybe orders or something like that. There can be certain issues, problems arising between buyers and sellers. Then this system may be in a position to connect with some other neutral parties to solve the particular issue which has arisen between two other business organizations. So therefore, these are some of the options that will help the collaboration between business buyers and business sellers, which will ultimately help them to proceed with their business transactions. Yeah. So that is about collaboration and trading. Is there any question regarding? So first we focused on the different collaboration tools which we can utilize. So which are basically the communication tools which we can use to communicate with our trading partners. And thereafter we focused on a particular platform which enable us to collaborate with our business partners, so with our trading partners. Is there any question on collaboration and trading?
So is this relevant to building good relationships with the stakeholders, these collaborating and trading systems?
Yes. Now these tools again, which are embedded into an overall e-commerce system, will help us to build good relationships with our trading partners and have close communications and build close relationships with them. So we may have different tools available there. So therefore, when it comes to an organizational e-commerce system, they may have it, but this is something different. This is not related to a specific organization, as I highlighted earlier. Now these e-commerce web portals or e-business exchanges, whatever the term we utilize, now they are being managed by third parties. So the third parties, usually the independent third parties, create these particular portals, enabling business buyers and business sellers to interact with each other. So we took the example of Alibaba earlier, and these are two other examples which we can identify. Ariba is another marketplace, e-commerce marketplace, which connects business buyers and business sellers. Commerce One is also another marketplace which connects business buyers and business sellers. Is it clear?
Actually, collaboration tools include email. It's like a third-party tool, WhatsApp also.
Yeah. There can be different. I think a couple of weeks back, we talked about these collaboration tools in detail.
Yeah.
Under that, we I think highlighted about 3 different types of collaboration tools which we can identify.
Yeah, it is not a part of the e-commerce system, no?
Can be now. If you take WhatsApp, it may be something else. If the system can directly utilize WhatsApp, I think that is I don't know whether it is possible or not, but these are the ones which have been facilitated directly through the system. So you can communicate with the particular trading partners utilizing these tools directly through that particular system.
Yeah, if we integrate the WhatsApp to that system, and that is also considered as
a collaboration. Yes. Are there any other questions? Shall I move forward then? Okay. We are moving to electronic payment processors. Payment for the products and services purchased is an obvious and vital set of processes in e-commerce transactions. Now, payment is a very vital event, as we highlighted earlier, when it comes to these e-commerce transactions. So, with the order confirmation, basically we need to make a payment. So, therefore, payment is very, very important. Payment processes, however, are not simple because of the nearly anonymous electronic nature of transactions taking place between the networked computer systems of buyers and sellers and the many security issues involved. Now here it says it is not simple, indicating that it is somewhat complex. Why it is complex? Here it says because it involves anonymous electronic nature of transactions taking place between these buyers and sellers. Now you are not basically communicating, or you are not interacting with parties who you know. So you utilize electronic communication means to communicate with a party which you do not know. So therefore, there is always a risk involved in these communications, in the payment that you make, because you are making a payment to an unknown party. So you identify that particular party through the website. It looks like a company. So you don't know whether it's a company or whether it is something else. You actually do not know. So therefore, most of the time we are basically interacting with parties who we do not know. So therefore, that particular risk aspect is there, and also there are security issues involved, because when you make a payment, there is a possibility that a third party may get the information that you communicate. Especially when it comes to the communication of credit card information to make the credit card payment, there is a possibility that your credit card information be stolen by a third party. So therefore, that security issue is also there. So therefore, it is considered as something not simple, and it is something complex. E-commerce payment processes are also complex because of the wide variety of debit and credit alternatives, as well as financial institutions and intermediaries that may be part of the process. Now, again, when it comes to e-commerce payments, and the users may be possessing different types of options, different types of debit cards issued by different banks, and also different types of credit cards issued by different types of banks and other financial institutions, and also different other institutes, and and also when it comes to the processing of the payment, the third parties may also be involved. So therefore, the payment process is also complex due to this availability of large number of cards, and whether to accept all those cards can be an issue for an organization. And when it comes to certain, I think, organization, they may not accept all the types of cards available. They may have their own restrictions, and some maybe sites may not accept, for example, American Express. They accept only MasterCard and Visa cards. So likewise, there can be certain limitation there, but the user may have one option, but that may not be accepted by the organization. So therefore, the things become maybe complex and difficult for organization on one hand, and for the customer on the other hand. Then we'll look at how we are going to make the particular payment. So how we are going to process the particular payments. Again, different options are available. The first, we identify the web payment process. Most e-commerce systems on the web involving businesses and consumers depend on credit card payment processes. Now, when it comes to business to consumer environment, so most of the transactions are based on the credit card payments. So then for an organization, they should enable the acceptance of credit cards, and the consumers will have to possess credit cards to proceed with the particular payment processes. But many B2b e-commerce systems rely on more complex payment processes based on the use of purchase orders, as illustrated in figure 9.5 earlier. Now, in figure 9.5, which we elaborated the particular Microsoft market system there, where we started with, say, identifying suppliers, and then I think sending a purchase order. So likewise, the order is processed in a different manner in a business-to-business context. But here, the customer will have to select the particular item that the customer needs to buy, and then confirm the order and make the payment. utilizing credit card payments. So therefore, for business to consumer transactions, mostly we rely on credit card payments, but when it comes to B2B environment, credit card payments are made, I think, very, very rarely. Maybe if it is a spot purchasing, they may go for credit card payments. So, but in many other instances, they are not utilizing such payment options. Then electronic fund transfer is another option available in relation to payments. Electronic fund transfer systems are a major form of electronic payment systems in banking and retailing industry. Now, this is utilized especially in the banking sector and also in the retailing sector, which are then connected to the banking systems. Then EFT systems use a variety of information technologies to capture and process money and credit card transfers between banks and businesses and their customers. Now, when you go to a supermarket, you may have experienced that you are making different payments. You may make utility bill payments, and you are paying for water, you are paying for electricity. So then the supermarket will credit the particular money to your utility bill account, basically with the help of a particular banking network. So then, so that is there, and also there can be transaction taking place within the banking industry, transferring funds between them. That is also there. Then the payment methods include, continuing with this one under electronic fund transfer, payment methods includes banking networks, including ATM. Now, you can utilize the banking networks or the ATMs to make your own payments. And the banks can also use the same networks for fund transferring activities. And also, there are other methods available, which is identified as web-based payment services. So, such as PayPal. Now, they are, you do not require a credit card. So you may credit money to a PayPal account utilizing other options like bank transfer or something like that also. And then you may utilize a credit card also to credit money to a PayPal account. But I mentioned that is not essential. And thereafter, you may use the money that you have credited in the PayPal account to make payments to the purchases that you make. So then why do you keep, what do you use the PayPal account instead of credit card directly? Now you have the option of making payment by your own utilizing credit cards. And then why do you need an account like PayPal?
No need to give information?
Yeah, you don't have to give information to basically say different websites from which you purchase. No? When you give information to large number of websites, the risk will be more. You may lose your personal, confidential or credit card information when you use your credit card more and more and on different sites. So that can be eliminated when you keep digital money in one account, and then you use that particular account to make the necessary payments. So therefore, the usage of PayPal account is mostly due to the security factor. In addition, most point of sale terminals in retail stores are networked to bank EFT systems, which make it possible for you to use a credit card or debit card to pay instantly for utilities, groceries, and other purchases at participating retail outlets. So as I highlighted earlier, the particular bank, the organizations systems which are highlighted as point of sale systems here, which are basically managed and used by the cashiers at retail shops. They are connected to the bank's electronic fund transfer systems, enabling them to transfer money to different places and even to their own account. Then, therefore, we have been able to utilize these credit cards or debit cards, whatever that is accepted through these particular systems, to make the necessary payments. It can be for the utility payments, so it can be for the groceries that you purchase from the supermarket on credit, and you pay utilizing credit card, and money will go to the particular retail shop. And so whatever you purchase, so the money can be transferred from one place to another place, depending on the service that you get, or what you purchase, or what transaction you make. So that is about different payment options available. We basically highlighted two options. The payment processes where we utilize credit card payments, usually for B2C transactions. And then we said that we are relying on electronic fund transfer when it comes to a B2B environment. Then securing electronic payments is another aspect which we have to look at. When you make an online purchase on the internet, your credit card information is vulnerable to interception by network sniffers. Now, I mentioned that when you use credit card information, that can be stolen by a third party. So how does it take place? That means third party intercepts the particular communication. The third party intercepts. So third party gets the tries to see the communication taking place between your computers and the other computers, and try to access the communication taking place in between. So for that, they are utilizing a particular category of software identified as network sniffers. Now, this is not a hardware gadget, this is a software. That is software that easily recognize credit card number formats. So therefore, these third parties who try to intercept the particular communication can utilize these network sniffer programs to identify the communications done between two computers. Then, if that happens, that will be a big issue. So therefore, we need to protect the communications taking place between the buyer and seller. For that, we can take some action. Here we highlight some actions or measures which can be taken to protect the communication taking place between buyer and seller. Encrypt data passing between customer and merchant. So we can go for a particular technique identified as encryption. Again, I don't want to elaborate on encryption right now, because under security you will get maybe a detailed illustration on that one. So this is, in short, this is transforming the original data into an unrecognized form. Encryption is transforming original data into an unrecognized form. So that means encrypting data passing between customer and merchant means before customer sends some information, that will be encrypted from the customer's end. So then that means the information that is communicated by the customer will be encrypted, or will be transformed into an unrecognized format before that is being communicated from the customer's end. So then what is communicated will be some text which is in unrecognized form. So what is communicated will be in an unrecognized form. So therefore, from the customer's end, the relevant content or relevant data will be communicated in an unrecognized form into the merchant's end. So from the merchant's end, there is a mechanism of getting back the original data, which we identify as decryption. Now, from the sender's end, we encrypt, where we transform the original content, original data into an unrecognized format. From the receiver's end, we decrypt, where we transform it back to the original data, where we transform back to the original content. So that is how it works. Then another option is it's a encrypt data passing between customer and financial institution authorizing the credit card information. Now there can be some information communicated directly between the buyer, customer and the merchant. So there can be some information, especially when the credit card payments are made. Credit card information may be communicated between the financial institution, between the customer and the financial institution. So then again, the same mechanism will have to be utilized before data are communicated from the customer's end. That data will have to be encrypted. That data will have to be transformed into an unrecognized format before being communicated. So then that can be utilized. And also there can be some other methods like taking sensitive information offline. You may get some information offline, not online. So therefore, when it comes to maybe dispatching of a ATM card or dispatching of a credit card. So you need to use the, say, traditional method of traditional post, basically to dispatch for these credit cards and debit cards. And then to utilize debit cards and credit cards, you need to send a PIN number. So then you may use a different option to send the PIN number. So then if the traditional post is used to send the card, so you may use online method to send the PIN number, something like that. Or you may not send the card and the PIN number on the same mail. You may use different mail. That is another option. But there are certain instances where you use a combination of options, online and offline, to ensure that both the information are not fallen into a single part. So both the information or both the content are not fallen into the same part. So therefore, that sort of option can also be utilized. Yeah. So that is about the electronic payment and securing electronic payments. Is there a question regarding this one? Is it clear?
Yes, it was clear. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. I think with that we can conclude for today, and we will meet on next Sunday. I am coming on next Sunday as well, and I will finish this chapter next Sunday. Thank you very much for participating, and see you on next Sunday.
Thank you, sir. See you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Recording stopped.